Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 7 candy bars I only ate after moving to America. And by candy bars, does he mean chocolate bars? Because I know candy is a word used for sweets in the US. Like if you get candy in the US, it could be any sort of sweet, right? But I think candy bars means chocolate, which is weird. That's a weird way how you can sort of use candy for multiple sort of words. Do you also say chocolate bars in the US? Because I know this is about chocolate bars. This says I came to... Yeah, it's to do with chocolate. Damn, I guess it's an interchangeable word for different meanings, but yeah, we're gonna check this out and see some of these bars. I mean, I've probably tried one or two of these before in like my videos that I've done trying US sweets and stuff, but some maybe I haven't. And also, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. But if you want to see some more of my reactions, links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions to movies and YouTube reactions that I can't post to YouTube. I just reacted to Back to the Future for the first time. Love that film. I mean, yeah, I'm going to react to the whole trilogy or whatever, all the movies pretty much, because I really enjoyed it. It was one of those films that I knew it was a massive film, but I cannot understand why it was so popular, and I loved the film. But yeah, we're going to jump into this reaction and see some of these bars.
It would be another 18 years before I actually sank my teeth into Three Musketeers, not to mention the chocolate bar of the same name.
What?
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to chocolate. Being from a country famous for its line of Cadbury products, I came to this country with an unhealthy obsession with chocolate, but I also came to this country with an unhealthy bias of what good chocolate is. That said, I think I recognized the importance early on of immersing myself into American culture, from its laws and its customs to its mysterious cuisine. And if I was going to apply that logic to all food, I was going to have to apply it to chocolate. After all, we're talking about two countries that are separated by a common language, but we're also talking about two countries separated by different brands. And having lived in the United States now for 12 years, there aren't really many brands that I haven't eaten, except Yankee Candle. And so with that in mind, here are 7 candy bars that I only ate after moving to America.
Hershey.
There are, of course, several products.
The go-to. I think the only Hershey I've tried, I remember, I mean, I was in school, and other than I think I've done it for the videos here, but it was the cookies and cream one. Can't really remember if I liked it or not, but what I do remember is the Hershey bars are so thin. Like from like Dairy Milk here, they're quite chunky, but the Hershey bars were just like really thin. And there wasn't like chunky parts. I mean, maybe it's different in certain bars, but
from the Hersheys line that I could have gone with, but for the sake of time and my BMI score, we'll just go with their flagship Hershey bar. The Hershey Company is, of course, one of the largest chocolate manufacturers in the world. So big, in fact, that a whole town in Pennsylvania was named after it. Kind of like how Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania was named after somebody that wasn't me. And even though the company was founded in Pennsylvania, you could argue that it got its start in the city that I'm now sitting in. Try saying that after 4 whiskeys, it's difficult. And that city is Chicago. It was at the World's Fair in 1893 that Milton Hershey witnessed German chocolate manufacturers and thought, that's what I want to do when I grow up, even though I'm already 36. And so a short time later, he founded the Hershey Chocolate Company. A few years down the road, the Hershey bar was born, and it was so successful that he and his workers were afforded the perk of having their own company town. In fact, in general, Milton Hershey accidentally employed a kind of cradle-to-grave marketing strategy. So to recap, Milton Hershey, who founded the Hershey Chocolate Company, was born near present-day Hershey, Pennsylvania, a town that he named after his company, and where he died before being buried at Hershey Cemetery.
I thought he was trolling at the start about the town and stuff. What the hell? That's crazy.
Presumably his coffin was lined with Twinkies. Now, over the years since moving to America, I've heard a lot of Brits tell me, ooh, don't eat that Hershey's because it is stodgy or awful or inedible. But to me, it's just different. I'm sorry to report, I don't really have a BuzzFeed-worthy controversial opinion on Hershey's. It's fine.
My question on Hershey's, right, so in the UK with dairy milk, you get dairy milk and you get it like mixed with anything. So you have like Oreo dairy milks, or you'll have like I'll show you my favorite one. My favorite dairy milk. Oh, I love it. Dairy milk. Marvelous. Oh my days. Don't get me started, man. These are the greatest creation. But like with Hersheys, do you get like the options of this almost? So it's like jelly beans, like chewy jelly beans though. Are gummy as hell. Not gummy actually, sorry, just chewy. So it's quite satisfying to have like a little chew whilst you're eating your chocolate. Popping candy and like small Smarties. Are Smarties in the US? Like I don't know what I can call them. Oh my days, man. Don't get me started. But like dairy milk, Oreo, you get like this Oreo. Oreo. Can you get Hershey's Oreo? Maybe you can. Cookies and cream. That's not the same. Oh, this is the one that I've tried, I think. It's not the same though, is it? That does look quite good, to be fair. Hershey's. I'm trying to think of like different flavors, I guess, because I want to see like what other flavors you can have. There's a green one. Oh, my internet is so bad. I see cherry cheesecake here. Is it gonna load? Cookies and cream. I can't read it. Peanuts and pretzels. That sounds good, to be fair. It's not loading, is it? God damn it, man. My internet. Strawberries and cream. Birthday cake. Cookies and mint. I do like mint chocolate, to be fair. So that's not something that I would be against. But there we go. But it's interesting how they don't really have the like. It doesn't show the other brand. It just sort of says it's cookies and cream or whatever. With dairy milk, it always shows Oreo or Dame, which is like another chocolate bar here, and just other chocolate bars here and there.
No, the controversy set in with our next entry.
Butterfinger.
During the first few weeks.
Is this the peanut butter? Is it like peanut butter sort of honeycomby, I think?
Of my time in the United States, I remember seeing this curious yellow wrapper and thinking, oh, there's something you don't see every day in England. However, we do use the playful insult Butterfingers to describe somebody that commonly drops things. You know, people like Goofy, Aunt Sophia, and everyone in every British comedy from the 70s. But Butterfinger was invented long before then. Almost 100 years ago, a company based near a small town by the name of Chicago marketed both the Butterfinger and the Baby Ruth by dropping them, and this is a true story, by dropping them from planes across the US.
What? They just dropped them out of planes? That would not be allowed now. Imagine that hitting someone on the head or something. God damn.
Helped to generate sales, but also concussions. Butterfinger was also popularized by the 1934 Shirley Temple film, Baby Take a Bow. There must be something about peanut butter-based chocolate bars that are easier to market through fun-sized characters, because the trick was repeated with Reese's Pieces in E.T. And long-time viewers of this channel will know that I have a love-hate relationship with peanut butter.
I don't, man. I love peanut butter stuff for sure. My favorite sweets are peanut butter chocolate sweets.
In the mood, I can eat a Butterfinger. But that doesn't mean you should send me them in the mail again, because just know that my mood changes quite rapidly after eating one. That said, Butterfinger does have the distinction of being the first peanut butter chocolate combo I ever had. The second were these.
Reese's? Clear, bro. This is my favourite sweet, man. Sweet chocolate, whatever you want to say. It's my favourite. 100%.
I was reluctant to include these at first because they're not technically bars, but given their elongated wrappers, they get a free pass. Apparently there was something in the air in the early 1920s, just like Butterfinger and Baby Ruth. That's when the H.B. Reese Candy Company was formed. But that's not all. In another twist of confectionery fate, its founder, H.B. Reese, was a former dairy farmer and shipping merchant to somebody you've never heard of called Milton Hershey. In fact, Reese founded the company in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and is also buried at Hershey Cemetery. That place is sort of like a Kit Kat of dead confectioners. And fittingly today, Reese's peanut butter cups are distributed by Hershey. Of course, that doesn't solve my love-hate relationship with peanut butter, but I will say this in defense of Reese's, I do prefer the texture to the crispy texture of Butterfinger. And now that we've got those out of the way, let's move on to the final four, with whom I have a love-love relationship.
Okay. Dove. What the hell is Dove? I've never heard of this in my life.
It turns out that turkey isn't the only bird that Americans eat at this time of year. The same is also true of Dove, the chocolate bar. Introduced in 1939...
Wait, what? We have that here. But it's Galaxy. Why does this always happen? Why do they change the names? Or we change the names? Why is it, like, surely it'd be beneficial for the companies to keep the same names. Unless there's another, I guess there's another chocolate bar in the US called Galaxy maybe. But that's literally the same, just with a different, like, name, literally. That's literally it. Where's Galaxy gone? Is Galaxy still sold in the UK? No one's going to care, actually. Why am I going to search up? Because I used to see these all the time. I used to like them a bit. They were all right, but I've not seen them for years. I mean, I forget it's still sold here, to be fair. I just don't really look for it, but I used to have Galaxy quite a lot, to be fair. But it's a decent sweet. It's quite like, I think it like melts in your mouth, but I think that's all chocolate, to be honest.
It wasn't named after the animal at all, but after Dove Candies and Ice Cream, a company owned by the Greek-American entrepreneur Leo Stephanos. And who wants to tell me where that...
That is the most Greek name I've ever heard. Stephanos. Love it.
...company was based? You guessed it, right here.
Chicago's the home of Chocky. Chocky Bickies. Why did I say that? Chocolate bars. Why did I say Chocky Bickies?
Not in this room. That would be strange. It's too small, for one. No, I mean in Chicago again. Now, like a lot of chocolate bars, Dove was later bought out by another company, in this case, Mars Corporation. And it was weird for me because even though I'd not had Dove chocolate before, the taste was instantly recognisable. And that's because the product is marketed in the UK and Ireland as Galaxy.
Yep.
So how about that? Mars, Galaxy? It's like they're trying to create a whole universe of products. That was intended. Anyway, this whole thing about having different names on either side of the pond for essentially the same thing is also true of the final three entries.
What the hell is Mounds? This is the first one the second one I didn't have a clue about, to be honest. Mounds.
Who doesn't love a good Mounds?
Oh, I'm not a fan of coconut chocolate. We have one here called Bounty, and it's sort of memed. A lot of people don't like it. Some people love it, but a lot of people don't like it, and it's just one of those sweets that sort of people joke around, kind of. It's not serious, but it reminds me of that, and I'm not a fan.
Bar. Introduced by Armenian immigrants in 1920, this coconut-based dark chocolate bar really took off in the 1940s with the US military. Shortly after this prompted the launch of the milk chocolate version, Almond Joy. And I have to say that being a big fan of both, but particularly the dark chocolate variety, I can often be found conducting a sermon on the mound. It's Sermon on the Mount. But once again, as a long-time fan of both chocolate and coconut, it struck a familiar chord. And that's because, on the other side of the pond,
Bounty.
A virtually identical bar was launched in 1951 by the name of Bounty, a divisive chocolate bar that's still widely available today. But despite the naming differences, this is one instance in which I'm not routinely confused. And that's because both countries use a blue wrapper to denote milk chocolate and a red wrapper to denote dark chocolate. Either way, they're essentially the same thing. You might almost say they're all for one and one for all. A phrase that's never been more appropriate than now.
Three Musketeers, I've tried this one. This is the Milky Way, the one that's like Milky Way here. You can't go wrong, man. Is it nougat inside it or whatever it is? It's like soft, kind of chocolatey tasting, but they're so satisfying to eat. I mean, I had these before, but we have similar ones here. They all taste the same to me.
Okay, all right, I confess, I did encounter a Three Musketeers bar in 1990 in Florida, but I didn't eat one. It was just wedged inside a vending machine. It would be another 18 years before I actually sank my teeth into Three Musketeers, not to mention the chocolate bar of the same name. Also distributed by Mars Incorporated. It was launched by the company in 1932 and originally consisted of 3 different flavoured bars. Hence, you know, Three Musketeers. However, due to wartime restrictions on sugar, its strawberry and vanilla flavours were
Strawberry and vanilla flavours? Huh?
Phased out to make way for the singular chocolate-covered whipped mousse bar that we know today.
Damn, so they got rid of it. Wait, it's called a mousse bar. Oh, so they got rid of those flavours back in the World War II days. God damn.
And this, upon eating it for the first time, was approximately my reaction. This is nice, but again, really familiar. And that's because in Britain and throughout the
Milky
world,
Way.
Mars Incorporated markets the Three Musketeers as Milky Way.
Wait, so they're both owned by the same company? I know there's another Milky Way one in the US, isn't there? That's like our Mars bars. Oh, it's so confusing.
They really are going for the whole universe thing. And if you want to know why this is so confusing to Brits, roll up our final entry. That's right, the US has its own chocolate bar called Milky Way that's different from the other one, and what's more, it's also owned by Mars Incorporated. Invented in 1923 by Minnesotan business magnate and avid wearer of mustaches, Franklin C. Mars, it is similar to a Three Musketeers bar, only with a caramel topping. And this wasn't lost on me upon my first bite, and that's because, apart from its size, it's almost identical to the Mars bar, a popular item in the UK and throughout the world, which, it turns out, is the global name for America's Milky Way. Let's just hope that nobody ever tells the company about certain other celestial bodies. As for me, I'm no longer devouring a bar of chocolate every day because I've given it up for 2020.
Love that. Love that. I mean, you gave up chocolate for 2020. What the hell? I'm just deeping what you just said. Dove's chocolate bar tastes much better than this soap. For God's sake. Oh god damn. Dove soap, you can't go wrong. What a year to give up chocolate. Chocolate is 90% of the reason I survived quarantine. Yeah, that's a very good point, to be fair. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, these are some candy bars that we don't have in the UK, but we kind of do have them. Pretty much. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, until next time, subscribe. Peace.